Welcome to our virtual dynamic governance study group classroom. We'll be together over the next 10 weeks in our study group, so I've developed this study group classroom to facilitate our efforts. The study group will be accessible anytime, and it is going to give us the capability of having face-to-face meetings via interactive audio and video sessions. We'll also be able to do live presentations, and it has a resource library where I've uploaded materials from our course of study that we can refer to as we meet, should we need to. When we meet, we'll be meeting in a space like this where we will share our videos of each other and thereby be able to meet face-to-face. We also have a space here in the left-hand corner where we can do discussion notes and keep track of information that we will be using during the meeting, and hopefully that will help us keep our minutes, etc. We have a chat area in the middle where if we attend a session between meetings, we can leave notes for each other should we wish to do so. And also on the left-hand side, again, I have the resource materials where we can download information that's already there or upload new information as we get it. Occasionally, we'll be required to collaborate on documents and assignments as we meet, and we can use this area where we can each share the screen and work individually and together on specific documents that we upload to this space. Again, we have the library here, and I've added a poll area so that we can provide ourselves with questions to test our learning and ensure that we are having a full understanding of the material that we're reviewing. I put some references over here in the bottom right-hand corner so that we can have some idea of where we can get additional input or information regarding our sessions, and that's available there for us to add to as we go through the study group as well. So returning to the presentation, what's the purpose of this presentation today? Well, essentially what I want to do today is just have a quick look at what this dynamic governance is so that we have a better understanding of what it is that we're studying. And dynamic governance is an alternative to the traditional methods of organization for most businesses, and it extends and improves on the traditional hierarchy. It's been proven to be an efficient and effective and inclusive and harmonious style of governance, a method of operation for businesses. And it's probably effective because it focuses on vision, mission, and aims of the organization, which so many organizations have, but so few actually refer to when they're making decisions. The result of all this is it creates a happening, more productive workforce, so that that indicates a very worthwhile endeavor for us to study. Today's meeting, I basically want to look just what is dynamic governance, who uses it and why they use it, and then I want to touch on the 4 principles of dynamic governance. So let's first look at what is dynamic governance. Well, it's a system of principles and practices that have been proven to be more effective, inclusive, and provide a harmonious operation. Harmonious probably because they involve everybody in the organization in the decision-making process. The system isn't new. It was developed in the Netherlands approximately 40 years ago and has grown in popularity in Europe over the last 40 years. It's now gaining popularity in North America probably because it focuses on vision and value and aims, and certainly for the highly competitive business world today, that focus is critical. Dynamic governance is also known as sociocracy. It builds on and extends the democratic values and principles that we all are very familiar with, the parliamentary procedures and Robert's Rules of Order that we've used in the past. But it improves as well on the authoritarian business model that is based on our democratic process. The authoritarian business model tends to have most of the power focused at the top, and then the authorities then trickle down from the top. Um, Dynamic governance provides a more productive method to work together and shares the responsibilities throughout the organization. It creates an equality of human values and has been proven to be inclusive in the decision-making process, and that's probably why it's so effective. When decisions are made, everybody in the organization is involved in that decision-making process in one way or another. Thereby, it respects the human individual needs of the members of that community or organization, and it facilitates a happier and therefore more productive workplace. Dynamic governance has a broad application. It extends practices of proper governance beyond simply government and moves it on down to voluntary organizations and now more recently to all levels of business and community development. And so who uses it now? Well, this again is a worldwide practice that's used by businesses of all sizes and types, not only charities and not-for-profits, but also major corporations, universities, associations, and all other organizations where groups of people need to come together to achieve a common purpose. The style of governance that we're discussing and studying over the next 10 weeks works. It's proven to be decentralized, it's empowering and resilient and adaptive. In today's business world and even in organizations such as nonprofits, which are struggling for very limited resources, it's necessary that these organizations become resilient and also that they be adaptive so that they can respond appropriately to changes in the marketplace. Because they involve everybody in the organization in the decision-making process, they are known to be inclusive and therefore harmonious, and they've also been proven to be very effective and much more efficient than the traditional style of business governance. They facilitate a purpose-focused operation, and most businesses today recognize the value of having a vision and mission and specific aims and objectives. Unfortunately, while many companies have that vision and mission, many don't refer to it frequently while they're making their decision process. Dynamic governance improves product creativity by including everybody in the organization and getting input from all levels of the organization, thereby taking full use of the human resource that's available to the organization. So that's basically what dynamic governance is, but let's take a look at the 4 principles of sociocracy or dynamic governance. Those words can be used interchangeably. The primary concept or first concept is that of circles. A circle is a domain or a group that shares a role and responsibility within the organization. So in a typical organization, there's a top circle that might be the board of directors. There's a leadership circle or the management team that falls below the board of directors and takes their instructions from them. And then below the leadership circle, there are individual departments, each of them having a specific role and responsibility within the organization. So, for example, there might be the research department, the production department, the administration department, or the marketing department. Now, the board of directors at the top takes their input from outside advisors as well as from the leadership circle. And they would listen to people such as auditors, government inspectors. They might listen to lawyers and seek input from information specialists in specific areas they needed to have information about in order for them to fulfill their primary responsibility, which is that of establishing the vision and mission and aims of the organization and to elect the leadership so that the operational functions of the organization can proceed. Now, what's unique about this style of governance, though, is that in addition to the individual who, in a traditional organization, is appointed or elected by the top circle to lead the leadership circle in the bottom below them, uh, there's also a second linking in this style of governance, whereby the leadership circle elects an individual who will then sit on the board of directors and carry with them the issues and concerns of the leadership circle. So in this method, you have a dual linking. The CEO or general manager, who's appointed by the board of directors, carries their concerns and issues down to the leadership team, and the leadership team elects an individual who then takes the concerns and issues of the leadership team up to the board of directors, and thereby there's a two-way communication, which is often missing in the traditional organization. Now, this linking is a very functional one, because those individuals who are appointed to be a part of the board of directors or that top circle from the leadership team do fulfill a complete position within that board, and their decisions have to be made then via rounds which involve all members of the circle. And in order for a decision to be made, there must be no objection from anybody in the circle, including that individual who is appointed from below. Now, the individual below, although they have responsibility to object when they have an objection, their objections have to be reasoned. That is, they have to be explained and understood by the other members of the circle. And also, any objection that they have must be paramount, and that means that it must be able to be shown to either violate or incapacitate the aim of the circle in which the proposal is being made. Proposals also have a definite term, which means that they will be reconsidered at some point in the future, so that if the circle feels that they don't have enough information to make a decision now, they're not hampered by the fact that this is going to be a concrete decision that will exist forever. They can be comfortable in making a decision that's safe enough for now, good enough for now, and safe enough to go with for the period of time that the decision is being made. And in that way, decisions can be made now with the full knowledge that when a decision comes, when more information becomes available in the future, people will be able to reconsider that decision again and perhaps change their position if necessary. Decisions are accepted when every member of the group indicates that they have no objection, and that means then that all decisions are unanimous, in the sense that everybody who has a stake in the decision has had an opportunity to voice an objection if there is one, and in the absence of those objections, the decision can then proceed and go forward. Now, the final concept of dynamic governance is this concept of election by consent. We've just discussed how decisions are made by consent, and one of the decisions that will be made is the election of the individuals who are going to represent the circle in the next higher circle or in the circle below. So in the case of the board of directors, there must be consent that the CEO or COO or general manager who's going to lead the leadership circle be elected by the board. Everybody on the board must consent to that decision. When that decision is made and there's a leadership circle is developed with its roles and responsibilities, the members of that team need to then elect somebody who will then sit on the board of directors and then be involved in all of those decisions. And in that way, the members of the leadership team feel that they have their concerns and issues being fully heard by the board of directors, and any issues that they have they feel can be properly represented. Now, in a normal organization, that responsibility would fall to the general manager or COO who has been appointed by the board of directors to then refer back to the board any concerns that the team might have below. But clearly that isn't as an effective method as when somebody who is appointed or elected by the team carries those issues. The members of the leadership circle then can be fully comfortable that their concerns are being represented. So to recap, sociocracy is a dynamic governance method that is an alternative to the traditional form of governance and is one that's proven to work. It creates harmonious, inclusive organizations, and it's based on 4 principles that ensure that decisions that are being made are made efficiently and that they address both the human needs as well as the organizational needs of the organization. Now, CCMIS is developing a full range of instructional materials to offer to schools, associations, clubs, religious organizations, businesses of all sizes. So if you'd like to be added to our mailing list to receive additional information as it's developed, please just simply click the link below. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 10 weeks as we study this new concept, and I'm sure that working within this facility hopefully will facilitate our learning and help us as we progress.